All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Goose, Gabe, and Gilbert. Go and get it. In this episode, the crew welcomes back special guest Gilbert Rodriguez. We cover topics that range from entrepreneurship, investing, failure, confidence, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Caterina Fake and Kirk Cameron. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Guys, some housekeeping. I want to thank everyone for sticking with us through this unprecedented times through the pandemic. We have switched up our approach and the medium that we're using to record these podcasts, but you guys showed nothing but love, so we're doing this via Zoom. So thank you to the creators of Zoom, because without you all, this wouldn't be possible. Currently, Gilbert, if I'm correct, you are in North Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
North Carolina. Gabe's in somewhere in Philly, and me, Goose is in Bristol, and I'm in Levittown. So we're all over the place. Everyone's either in the home office, rooms, whatever. So please, if you guys hear anything in the background, dogs, kids in the background, please forgive us. But that's why we're delivering the extra special, highly beneficial content. So thank you for bearing with us. With that being said, Gilbert, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. So you joined us. You were featured with us in episode 117, almost 100 episodes ago. So, you know, for those who have not yet had the opportunity to listen to episode 117, I suggest you do. But Gil, can you please give a quick synopsis on who you are and what you do?
Sure. I own a plumbing and piping company out of Durham, North Carolina. We specialize in medical piping, specialty piping, commercial piping, and a little bit of residential. And so we travel around doing medical work, and it's fantastic. Company's grown, and it's a great place to be, and I loving life. Cool.
So there's a lot of people who may be wanting to start their own business, especially at a time like this, maybe wanting to start a little side business, work from home kind of gig. What made you want to become an entrepreneur, right? So you had a career in your trade, but then you kind of stepped out of your comfort zone and jumped into doing your own thing. So what made you want to be an entrepreneur, or was that always in your spirit?
You know, I think it was always in my spirit. There was a time in my career where I had done quite a bit in my career, and I kind of just woke up one day and said to myself, it's now or never. You know, it was one of those things where there was such a confidence level to what I was doing, and it just felt right. It felt right. Yeah. And I said to myself, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to try it. I'd rather try it and not have the fear of failure than to never try it at all. And I think that was a big turning point in my career. I remember working where I was working and coming home one night, and I was like, I'm going to do it. That's it. You know, you think about something for so long and you don't really act upon it. And so you just think about it every night, every time you had a bad day, or every time you come across a challenge, you just like, why am I doing this? You know? And so the time just came, and I said now or never, and never turn back.
So you mentioned this is super important. I'm glad you said this. You said the fear of failure. Can you go through at least a little bit of maybe the mentality or the maybe the mental roadblocks you had to overcome to take that leap? A lot of people like to play it safe, and it's good to have, you know, some gauge of risk, but at one point you have to jump, right? There's a famous speech, Goose, you know this speech by Steve Harvey. So the comedian Steve Harvey has a speech titled Jump. I advise, I'm not going to go through it. It's obviously, I can't, you know, make it justice but in reiterating that, it's basically taking the leap of faith and facing, you know, your fears and the little roadblocks. So can you speak a little bit about the fear of failure?
Sure. I think the fear of failure is it's probably the biggest hurdle that anyone has to overcome. All right. I mean, that's something. I think if you don't have a fear of failure, you're kind of doing things a little haphazardly. I don't know if I think it's good to be nervous. I think it's good to have a fear of failure. I think it's good to question yourself. I think it's good to have moments in your life where you struggle in that area only because when you actually do jump, for lack of a better term, and you do step forward and do your own thing, you care about it, and the fear of failure is something that holds a lot of people back, including myself. I mean, I tend to say that I started late, but in all retrospect, I started when I was 30, and doing my own business. But at the same time, I think fear of failure is actually a good thing.
So how long was it when you knew? So you said it was in your spirit that you're an entrepreneur, but how long was it in your 20s? I'm assuming that you knew you wanted to start your own business. So what age until 30? So what was like those years in between that you knew? Was it like, were you like 25 and like, I got to do my own thing? So it took you 5 years to kind of overcome that?
Yes, I think, in fact, I remember my son was born in 07. I was, I believe at the time, 25 years old. But I think it was really, when I saw him as a baby, it started to really, hit home for me, as to say, hey, look, you're going to have to do something, and it was just something that no one was telling me. I had a comfortable job. I was comfortable, but at the same time, I wasn't. It was something there was nothing I could do to scratch that itch, and so when I saw my son, he was playing around and the years went by, it just kind of dawned on me. And I said, I've created a career for myself, and I had been doing what I was doing since I was 17 years old. Now I'm 25, 26, 27 years old. And now I'm saying to myself, I have built up enough confidence to be able to take on that fear of failure. Why? Because I became a master of something that I was doing. I didn't dabble into many different things and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this or a little bit of that. I just kind of honed in all my effort, all my focus in my craft. And then by the time I was 30, I really felt like I was ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a tricky thing too, right? Because sometimes people feel like the stars have to align. And I want you to speak on this. Was it perfect when you made the jump? Did everything line up exactly how you wanted or how you envisioned it? Or were there some things not quite, bolted down tight, but you still kind of made the move?
No, nothing at all happened the way I thought it was going to happen. But right. And when I say that, not just bad, but also the good. So it's interesting because I had this business plan that was fairly weak, to be honest with you. I had super low expectations of myself. On paper, I did the most minimal, only kind of set my mind up to go, oh, if I hit these numbers, I'm going to feel good about myself.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, when we started the business, it actually skyrocketed our first year. We killed it. But the bad part about that was that rapid growth. We kind of just, I guess, I didn't really pay attention that much to the ARs of the business. So then we doing all this work, we're hiring and getting more technicians and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we're not getting paid from people. So it's like you're growing, you're doing great, and then you look at the bank account and you're like, well, where's all this? Where's the money? Because it's like, well, you have no in place to collect. And so there was a lot of ups and downs when the business was started. It was pretty intense because a lot of things went well and a lot of things we had to learn from. But nonetheless, you keep going, and once you make that jump, once you put your eggs in that basket, there's no turning back. At that point, I heard someone always told me that you tend to swim harder when there's no life. And so when there's nothing around you that you can kind of hold on to fall back on, you're forced to make it work. You're forced to go through the ups and downs. You're forced to learn. You're forced to make decisions based on mistakes or to improve the business. And I think there shouldn't, at least for me, from speaking for myself, in my mind, there was no turning back. So there was some things that went really well, and there were some things that didn't go so well at all. But none of it was planned, which is ironic to me. The good thing is when you start, that's when everything is when you actually step out there, things start to happen.
So you talked a little bit about feeling nervous and having that angst, I guess, when starting, because there's a lot of unknowns, right? There's so many moving parts to starting your own business and being an entrepreneur. Can you talk a little bit about confidence? Were you just confident in your ability and what you can do, and you went off that and obviously trust possibly a mentor or your business plan and kind of figured it out along the way? And if so, can you talk a little bit of the importance of having confidence?
I think confidence is an important part of success if kept in check. I think for me personally, there was such a like a quiet confidence. It wasn't something where you go out there and you're blabbing off about what you're going to do, this and that or the other. I think when it comes to confidence, it's something that confidence is something that you have to show by your actions. I think confidence is extremely important, because without it, confidence is what kind of keeps you going, right? Confidence in yourself and what you do is something that keeps you, motivated. It keeps you going. But again, like I said, if it's confidence and it's not being put in check, it can bite you. You could be overly confident. You could, lack humility and things like that can start to kind of decline who you are as a person, how you're perceived in the community, how you come across to your loved ones, to your son, to your daughters, whoever. I think that confidence is a good thing if it's kept in check 100%.
So, Goose, I want to go to you really quick, because you also made the leap. Can you talk a little bit about confidence yourself, like how confident you have to be when you went from working for someone to working for yourself and having people work for you?
For me, in my industry, my confidence is my skill. So my skill, I'm confident about my skill. So then I knew I built a huge book of clientele. So when I went from transferring from working for someone to being on my own, I was confident that I was going to draw in like plenty of people, plenty of clients. But then when I actually made when I made that move, when I made the jump and I was there, I'm like, holy smokes! Like if this fails, like it's all on me. So right. you kind of mentally give yourself that confidence, like I could do this, like I got it. Like you just build it up and you just get it. It just comes, like because as like everyone says, like if you don't try, you don't like, especially owning a business. If you'd be mad if you didn't try it. So my goal was to make it succeed no matter what. So you just mentally just build that, like you got this, like you can do it. It's not easy, but you can do this. You can, and then when you start hiring people, like you're confident in them. Their work is just as good as yours. You know what I mean, or if not better. And you kind of, not that you gas them up, but you praise them, like, yo, you're good, you're doing a good job, or keep complimenting them. And then while the shop is going, like fast forward a couple years later, and I'm stepping outside and I look and I see the shops moving. There's business, there's clientele, there's people waiting, the barbers are doing good. Then then I got like a bigger confidence. I'm like, yo, I did it. Like this is good. I am the truth to myself, what I said I was. But yeah, no, but it's like you just build it. Obviously you get compliments from your peers and stuff like that on talent, but when it comes to business, it's really like you got to gas yourself up to get it moving.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about the people that you hire are a representation of you and your business.
Yeah,
now
for sure.
Those people who don't know, Gilbert was in the northeastern part of the States, up by where we live, in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, and moved down south to make a better life for him and his family. But Gilbert, how do you go? We're on the topic of confidence. How do you go to whole other state and how do you build that trust for, starting a business and hiring people? Why would someone join your business? How would they know this is going to be a good move for them?
And that's, again, it goes back to what you were talking about with confidence. I think, with that quiet confidence, I was always early, no matter where I was. I volunteered for everything that nobody wanted to do. I did it. And so I think what started happening for me anyway was you start to gain the respect of your peers. You start to gain the respect of your bosses. You start to gain the respect of people in the area, in your industry. Because no matter what industry you're in, good people know good people in your respective industry. I think when I started doing some jobs and doing some things in my career that kind of highlighted what I can do in my industry, when you have that respect, people are looking to you as a natural leader. Once you gain respect of a lot of people, whether you want to believe it or not, you're viewed as a leader. So at that point, I kind of, said to myself, if I ever wanted to do something, I think I can get quite a bit of people on board with me. And that's exactly what happened. And like you said earlier, everybody that works for you, I like to say that, I have people that work with me, but anybody that works with you, for you, however you may have it, is an extension of who you are, is an extension of your personality, is an extension of your everything. And they represent you just as much as you represent them. So it's there's a level of respect there, but confidence, respect, and honestly, trying to be a good person, treat people the way you like to be treated. And when you start to do things like that and you're honest about it, I think good things happen.
Absolutely. Yep. We talk a lot about going after it, going and get it. The title of this episode is Go and Get It, grinding it out, hustling. In your mind, when someone says go and get it, you got to go and get it. What does that mean for you? Are you going to get it for what that means for Gilbert as an individual, or Gilbert and extended, into his family and their future, like a legacy? Or what does that mean to you?
I think going and get it is interesting. I think for me, when I hear the word go and get it, to me, it's literally taking action. It's a pretty simple concept. Just go do it. Put a plan in place. Do something that you're passionate about. For me, I was passionate about what I do. I know for a lot of people, plumbing and piping might not seem like it'd be a passion for someone, but for me, it's all I know. It's all I've ever done. So to me, it's a passion. But going and get it is something that you grind and you work hard when no one else is. You wake up earlier, you grind, you do your research quietly. You don't have to boast out there that you're working as much and I'm so busy. I got this, and this. Nobody wants to hear that. And I think for me personally, you show the results to yourself first. And if others take notice, they take notice. But you do it for yourself. You do it for yourself. You do it for your family. You do it for that chip on your shoulder. For me personally, I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I think when it comes to blue collar trade, for me personally, I've always taken it as if people look down on something like that. They look down on if you want to work with your hands or be a mechanic or anything like that. And to me, I wanted to change the stereotype of that business. I wanted to change that whole perception of, you do a great job, So I had that chip on my shoulder. It was huge. And so I said to myself, I'm going to take this as far as I can possibly take it. And that's what happened. I was able to travel the world doing pipe work out of all things, So I think going and getting awesome. Is one of those things that you have to live by it. You have to breathe it. You have to live it. You can't just talk about it. A lot, it's easy to sit there and brainstorm without taking a step forward. I'd rather have it not all together in the notes and take a step forward than to just continue to talk about it and wait for the right moment. It'll never come. Never come.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get fumbled up and tripped over, myself included, when when I was starting out and figuring things out myself, in trying to have a perfect plan. And as you stated earlier, even with the plan that you had, nothing even, it didn't go accordingly, let's just say. And I do feel like things happen for a reason, and it was good that it didn't, because for you to write out like a 5-year plan and think that it's actually going to happen for every single step, that means, you're as good as, picking a lottery winning number or something like that. It's almost impossible to pick out every step perfectly, and for life to happen that perfectly and pan out that way. It's almost laughable when you think about it, but we all did it. I had a 10-year plan that I wrote out in exhaustion for like 6 months, wrote out this plan of what my life, not just business, what my life was going to be. And it's like, it's almost like I laugh now because it's so naive, because that's not how any of this works. Because if it was, I mean, we'd be a lot further in our minds, and a lot of times that happens because things either happen faster than we thought they were going to, or slower than we're going to. But the important part, or I think the thing to highlight, is you really don't know. But I think taking action, and not getting so hung up on an actual plan. Listen, I'm all for people planning things out, and I condone it, but you have to also immediately take action, or that plan is just meaningless. It's just pointless, because there's nothing supporting what you're doing.
I think, not to cut you off, but on that same topic, it was one of those things where one of the biggest things that I've learned was to adapt to change.
Yes.
Business for me, personally speaking, is like, you can plan your life out, right? Not forget, just put business aside for a second and just think about your life. Like, you can plan things in your life, and plans in life consistently change. And so with business, I think people want to live their life as so regimented, and know that life changes all the time and they're okay with it. But when they open up a business, people tend to kind of get freaked out when things change in a business plan, or things change in business. I mean, look what happened with the whole COVID thing. I mean, I think many people's businesses have changed. If you don't know how to adapt to it, or it's so difficult for you to roll with the punches, business is going to be pretty tough mentally. It's going to be extremely stressful.
Absolutely. And I think there's something in the predictability. I think the reason why people plan so much, and plan on top of plan, and prepare to even, they prepare on top of preparation. I don't know what the saying is, but I think because when they plan so much, they think that there's a predictability about that, which then lends itself to comfort, right? People naturally lean towards comfort. Okay, if it happens like step 1, 2, and 3, I'm comfortable now with making that move. But that's really not, how it works at all. And as you mentioned, making adjustments along the way is the true ticket, because things can change. I remember when I first started out in advertising, there was a specific way you can market on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, right? And then a year later, all of those platforms changed their algorithms, where you could, if you marketed like that the same exact way, it was reaching a fan base of absolutely nobody. And then they also changed their rules and regs. Now, this is just social media marketing, but it happens in every platform. The government can change rules and regulations on how you operate. A pandemic can happen, and they're telling you need specific amount of feet in between you and the rest of your barbers. Just imagine, Goose, if you were in your old your first location, I should say, there was no way you'd be able to operate, because the place was like a quarter of the size.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, and it's all like you just said, anything could happen. So on that, you have to learn to be able to adjust to anything. So like something like that, you just have to learn how to adjust with what's going on in the world, or whatever rules and regulations like come about. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm blessed that I got the bigger space. I was able to like adjust things. But if I was in my old spot, I'd have a hit for real, because I wouldn't be able to have 3 barbers in there, or because it was so small with these new regulations and how like the distance apart from people, it wouldn't happen.
Absolutely. There's something important, Gilbert. I want you to talk about failure, but in the context of how we're talking right now, right? So say you tried something, or as I was talking about in marketing, if I was still using the same, I was dumping hundreds of dollars into marketing and it was no longer effective. And so basically I was in the red with my marketing budget, making those adjustments. That's not necessarily failure, but I want you to talk a little bit about how we can use failure as a stepping stone to success.
I think failure is a part of success. I think if you're running a business and you want to try different things, or maybe market something new, or maybe introduce a new line of something into your business, I think developing an action plan before you actually do that, with a percentage of it, calculating a percentage of it that it could fail. I think if you have an action plan for it, I guess it'll make it easier for you to adapt to that result of what you're trying to do. I wouldn't like right now for my own business, I wouldn't start to market something specifically and go, oh, it's going to be a home run. I know it's going to be a home run, and no matter what, it's going to be a home run. At the end of the day, it might not be, and so I think just developing an action plan and being able to accept the results of what you're trying to do, whether it be good, whether it be bad. You fail at something, that's just a lesson learned. It's not something where you fail at something, all of a sudden you got to quit. It's just a lesson learned, or maybe there's a better way of doing it. Maybe you didn't do enough on something. So I think developing an action plan and being able to accept the results, whether it's good or bad, I think is the actual key to all of that.
Absolutely. I think a big part of being an entrepreneur is having eyes to notice opportunity when it knocks on your door. And I know you're one of those guys who constantly has your eyes open and you're investing in little things, even if it's in your own business that you think will, help improve your workflow or your processes, or, just the overall, income. What are some of the things when it comes to investing should people look for, and what does investing look like for you?
Well, personally speaking, right? I mean, I think investing, or having investments and things like that, for me, I wouldn't invest in anything that I am not passionate about. Personally, I know a lot of people. You could be an angel investor, you can be an investor, you could do this and the other. For me personally, I wouldn't invest in anything I'm not passionate about. I have to be completely turned on to whatever idea I'm trying to invest in. Right now, I like to invest in real estate property, commercial specifically. It's just something that I've grown to really like. I've grown to really be passionate about it, to see the market, to see what things are happening, see what opportunities I have to grow. Because besides the plumbing and piping company, also have a real estate company. So it's like a two-headed, I got my thinking cap for both businesses, but at the end of the day, I'm passionate about both. So I think being passionate, knowing what you really want to do with investing is crucial for me personally. Not speaking for anybody else, but for me, if somebody came with me with an idea, I wouldn't necessarily put the importance on the idea as I would the person presenting it. I think you invest in people more than you invest in a product. If that person has the drive, if that person has the passion, if that person is willing to do what it takes, that's what you really invest in. Again, for me personally,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you hear ideas and you hear about opportunities all the time, but it's seldom that you actually act upon it. You know, it's very seldom that I act upon it unless I something starts to turn in my head that I'm like, you know what, this is an actual, you know, really, really good opportunity. But I think investing for me personally, it's a pick and choose thing. It's a passion thing. It's something. It's a people thing. You know. So those three concepts, I think, for me is key when it comes to investing.
Yeah, it's interesting because that reminds me of an episode of Shark Tank that I recall watching some years back. This gentleman was selling a service that none of the investors really were interested in, to be honest with you. It was operating at a profit, but it was just something that I can't remember exactly what it was. It was some education service or that he was providing. But they were captivated with the gentleman himself, right? So he was so passionate about this education service that he was offering that he ended up getting two deals, well, two offers, and he obviously settled for one deal. And this guy was so, I think it was something about, you know, plugging into schools, like an after school study or something like that. And they were just kind of like, it's not really for me. And the guy just kept going and kept going. It was believable. You could tell he was not a salesman. This guy was all about what he specifically did. And both of the investors, now these guys, as you know, one of them was a billionaire and the other one was a multimillionaire, both said, we are investing and I'm putting this offer on the table because of you. I'm investing in you. You're just a person that's going to succeed no matter what, because you're passionate about that. And can you talk a little bit about people who jump into businesses or investments that are not passionate and why it's important that you're only looking at people who are passionate about what they're doing, yourself included, versus someone who's just in it for the money?
I think it's easy if you're not passionate about something. I just think it's easy to turn away. I think it's easier to quit. I think it's easier to kind of say, "Oh well, I didn't like that anyway," or for me personally, someone had to believe in me, when I first started. So I mean, it was something where I personally lived and breathed type work. I just did. I mean, to me, there's no other better trade in the world. We manipulate the most important resource on earth, and that's water. So to me, I'm good. And anybody that comes to our company or knows me or anybody about it is that we stand up for our trade 100%. And so when you're that passionate about something, and then you see someone else just as passionate about what they like, it's like a kindred spirit, man. It's like something where you meet someone that has that passion, you just instantly click, you instantly bond, because you might like something and be passionate about something. I'm passionate about something. Right there, we have that commonality between us. You instantly know this person's legit about what they're trying to sell, about what they're trying to do. If you look at it just from a money aspect, I personally think that people aren't willing to go to the very length that it needs to go before they quit. I think if you're not passionate about it, it's just easy to say, well, I lost the startup money, I lost the initial investment. That's okay. I'll look for something else. And to me, I think passion is probably key about all that, when it comes to people, because you can have a product, that product can fail, but that person is going to do something else. That person is going to find another passion for something else. And to me, that's what you really invest in.
Yeah. I mean, there's something that in the industry they call shiny object syndrome, where you see, if you go on social media, there's ads everywhere, right? And there's this guy pitching you on, he can help you run an Amazon store. And I always laugh because it's interesting to see people actually buy into the ad, buy into this program, whatever this gentleman's selling. And 5 years prior, this guy was selling something totally different. He was selling something in real estate or whatever, a program. And it was just like people following, it was a shiny object. And I'm like, oh, that looks great. and they had the fear of missing out. Like, wow, this guy can guarantee me, a generated income on a monthly basis, and they're just after the money. And like you said, there's no real skin in the game outside of that initial investment. So if it does fail or the obstacles come across, you're more or less willing to fight for it because there's really no passion. It's kind of like the secret sauce to throw into the equation when everything is beating you down. You have a reason. It's almost like your anchor. It's your why as to, all the action and all the hustling that you're doing to become something or make yourself successful or make your business successful in whatever manner that is. So super interesting stuff. Now, what is your goal for your current businesses? So what do you want to, where do you want to head in the future for both the plumbing and in real estate? If you want to start with plumbing, what does the future look like?
Well, right now, we're trying to focus on our medical side of the business, which is medical piping, liquid cryogenic, and things like that. Especially now, where the world needs such an influx of, oxygen piping for hospitals and piping up, beds and things like that. And there's such a hole in that industry right there. And so we're trying to train within, trying to expand that business, and ultimately create an atmosphere where we have lifers that come to work for us. We have people that finish out their career at Pureline, that people come in and they're passionate about what they do and they love to work and they love to work here, at the company. But being able to train within and create that atmosphere of personal growth, advancement within the company is key for us. Obviously, we have some financial goals, some financial revenue goals that we want to hit and things like that. That's a given. But we want to create, to us, everything is culture. At Pureline, at the company, everything is culture. I'm still owner operator. I still in the medical field. I'm still slinging pipe, with the best of them. I still, if I have to put my owner hat on and my HR hat on and my accounting hat on, I do. But at the end of the day, from who I am, where I'm from, I'm a plumber through and through. And so I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to talk to my guys. And so we have a round table approach. We want to keep growing, keep doing that, and train within and see where it takes us, and I think that we'll be able to achieve our financial goals if we continue to create that culture within our company that everyone has a voice. Everyone's important. There's nobody beneath anyone, including myself at all. You want to come talk, let's talk. You have ideas, let's implement them. We're a small business. And I think with small businesses, people have this fear there's no advancement. But I think, in a title heavy world, we tend to operate without titles in the company. And the reason is because, if you don't have a huge company where you can be, a manager of this or a VP of this, that, most people want to be heard. Most people want to have ideas to improve the company. Whether you've been with us 6 months or been with us 7 years, we're going on 7 years now, which is, I'm like super stoked about it. But to be able to do that, to me, I just sit back and just enjoy. I get such a enjoyment out of that. And if people are being able to grow and love to work at the company, it's just beyond satisfying.
So what about for real estate?
Real estate, just to continue to grow the portfolio. We have several buildings and things like that we're trying to continue to grow and buy more commercial property, specific ones, where they're needed. But that's more of a long-term goal per se. But the commercial real estate is something that we would just want to continue to find opportunities at the right time to grow a portfolio, to be able to continue to grow in that area as well.
So there's a question I like to ask, all of our guests is, how do you manage your work-life experience? But for you more specifically, you walk the walk in a sense that you're constantly posting about sharing the good life with your team. You're taking them on vacations, treating them out to dinner. You're constantly doing that. It's almost like it's one in the same. Working, your home life is all kind of one in the same. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of sharing the success with your team?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for my team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, quote unquote, right, successful without the people that are around me. There is no way, I'd be a fool to think that anyone calls a company because I'm there. I think that our people have created their own relationship with our customers, and I think that I wish I could do more for them, to be honest with you. I think being able to do the things that we do for them when it comes to, all kinds of things, from bonuses or taking them out to the beach, the whole company. I think that, they're everything, and has that the people is like the lifeblood of the entire company, and there's nothing that I can say to I don't even have the right words to describe the love I have for every single person at the company. We have now 21 people that are employed at Pureline, and to me, wow, that is something that, people say you have dreams and things like that, but this is something that I didn't dream. I'll be honest with you. This is something that is beyond my dreams that I've, I'm just a kid from Bristol. I didn't grow up with everything being handed to me. I had to fight and grind for everything I have, to treat people the right way, like my parents taught me. I'm first generation here. You want to talk about a chip on my shoulder, that's where all that comes from. And at the end of the day, I go to my office, and it's just such a humbling experience to know that people rely on you to make good decisions for their livelihood. For the people that maybe didn't want to take that risk, that they'd rather take that risk, behind me making the decisions. That's super humbling. I don't take that lightly, right? I mean, you got families paying mortgages, you got people paying car payments, you got people with children needing to go to have medical care and things like that, and it's such a a responsibility. At the same time, there's freedom in it, and so it's just extremely humbling. I'm super proud of my team. I could talk about my team all day long, man. I give you bios of every single one of them, and it's really cool, man. It's sometimes it gets overwhelming. I pinch myself every morning. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a great ride, and it continues to be.
Yeah, and guys, for those of you guys who are listening, he does a lot for his employees. He's one of these guys who spoils them. He really does take them out on legit vacations to beautiful beaches of, around the area. It's just fantastic to see. It's cool to see. It's different. It's, some people don't even get, have the opportunity to get, a pay increase on a yearly basis after their performance appraisals, let alone get treated by the company's owner, and he sharing his own family with his work family, who is now his adopted family, right? I mean, they're literally, and there's a lot of pressure there that I don't want to just skip over, that you mentioned. These people, they have lives, they have babies, they have, like you said, car payments, house payments, mortgages, whatever, that they have to pay, and they're kind of relying on your leadership to, that you're steering the ship in the right direction. So there's a lot of pressure there, and I know in leadership, there's a lot of times, what happens is when things go wrong, that's when leadership gets highlighted, right? That's where leadership gets recognized for all the bad things. But I want to be sure that, when guests are on our show here, that we're highlighting leaders that are doing significant things and literally changing lives. Gilbert, for you, for example, it's just 21 people that work for you, but it's all their family. So you're basically in the hundreds if you break it down and add everyone's family members. There's some of these guys, I'm sure, on your team that are also taking care of family members, mom, dads, grandparents. And it's because of the careers that they have for you. I mean, I remember one of the most interesting things I heard you say is that you give your guys a budget to have their trucks cleaned. And that might seem something so little to most people when you hear that, but that is a stamp of quality that most businesses maybe either don't even think about it, but it's something small that makes you stand out from the rest of the crowd. Can you just add, just nothing crazy, but just talk a little bit about that and the quality and the representation of your company with little things like a car wash budget?
Yeah, I think, again, it kind of goes back to when I decided to do plumbing work. There's such a stigma out there with dirty plumbers and cracks showing and dirty uniforms and, dirty trucks, just sloppy, stinky, plumbers. And to me, man, that drove me so much to change that stereotype. To be like, not all plumbers got to be like that. Not all plumbers have to smell. Not all plumbers, have to look a certain way or anything like that. And so, with that, it's like ingrained in what we do is to represent who we are as clean, professional, extremely courteous. To the point where most of the guys, that's what they do. Their trucks are clean. They wear shoe coverings. They're extremely pleasant with when they see our customers and things like that. And it all starts from who we are and who we want to represent. I mean, that's what we want to represent, is a different viewpoint on the whole plumbing, industry. And so for us, being able to allow our guys to clean their trucks, to supply them with, new boots, to supply them with cool uniforms, a uniform cleaning service. You name it. I can go on and on and on, about the steps that we take to make sure that we represent who we really are, and in our industry, I think that's extremely important. We want to break that stereotype. We want to be able to inspire a young kid in high school to go, you know what? I think that doesn't look too bad. I don't want to do it, and I think it's vitally important to our youth to be able to have a plumbing company like ours to look at and go, they do it right. They do it right. So to me, that's just really important. And again, it goes back to that passion and what you want and what you want your company to look like. It's the same thing with Miguel and his barbershop. I imagine that there's things that he envisions his barbershop that, he wants it to look a certain way. He wants it to represent a certain professionalism, compared to other barbershops. I mean, it's just, it goes down to people's passions,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. So in closing, the topic of the episode is go and get it. What's your recommendation to anyone who's trying to achieve their goals? If there's a kid out there or someone who's, on the fence about, making the jump into entrepreneurship or investing, or, just improving themselves overall, what recommendations do you have for that person?
Honestly, don't give up. I know that's such a cliche thing to say, but it's just so true. Having a strong work ethic, an extremely strong work ethic, having a certain drive that is unrelenting. I had a friend of mine tell me that an elephant gets big eating peanuts. And I know this might sound, I know it's funny, but if you really think about it, what does that really represent in your own life? And I think that having that work ethic, never giving up, talking to people who have made it, talking to people that are there where you want to be, surrounding yourself with people that have similar goals as you, it is so important. I think the more success you find, your circle becomes smaller, and that's just the name of the game. Circle just becomes smaller, and you got to be okay with that. And so picking your relationships is vital. Putting yourself in positions to learn constantly, being teachable, being humble. I mean, I can go on. I mean, you talk about people going and get it. You need to do things every day that everybody else does occasionally. And I've said that before on here. I think doing things every day that make you become a better entrepreneur, a better person, a better father, a better everything. And so I think going and finding your passion and going after it as hard as you possibly can. Life is short. I mean, you fail. You get right back up and you do something else, or you help someone else fulfill their visions until it's time for you to fulfill yours. So I mean, and I think a lot of people, get lost in that. I helped fulfill other people's visions for years until I had to do my own, and it just came back full circle. So I mean, I think it's a mindset. It's just a mindset that you have to take each and every day, that you're going to go do it. You're going to do something to contribute to your future.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for that. Is there any parting words that you have, or that you want for the listeners to hear, or how they can contact you?
Honestly, I think this is such a blessing to be on this show. I'm super impressed with what you and Gabe and Heck, even Manny to Miguel. I mean, you guys are doing such an incredible work here with Rotated Views, to be able to send just positive vibes in such a time that people need it the most. Having people come on this show and talk about their successes, their failures, their everything, it's just key. For me personally, I mean, obviously, not to have like a shame, a plug on here, but our website is just purelineplumbing.com. You can, all the information is on the website, phone number, make an appointment if you're in the South, or not, if you're a medical person and need some medical piping at your hospital, give us a call, give us shoot me an email or whatever. All my information is on there. But parting words for me is just to not give up. And I think that the good things will come your way if you're doing good things. So keep at it. And, again, you guys are awesome. I'm glad to be a part of it.
For sure, man. Thank you for joining us, dude. We appreciate you. We love you guys. As usual, we like to close things out with quotes. And the first one is by Kirk Cameron. God steps into the suffering with us. He takes it on himself. He walks through it with us, and he uses it to create something in you that is unstoppable. And the second one is by Caterina Fake. It's fairly easy to know when you've succeeded because you're kind of hanging on for dear life. It's such an unstoppable juggernaut. You're trying to stay your head above water because things are moving too fast. Very relatable. Go and get it. In this episode, the crew welcome back Gilbert Rodriguez. We cover topics that range from entrepreneurship, investing, failure, confidence, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Caterina Fake and Kirk Cameron.
Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.